It could actually be the only thing that saves these politicians' jobs, ironically, since they are the only ones who don't seem to understand this. Joining us now from Washington, D.C. is a Republican Congressman, Jason Chaffetz of Utah, who understands more of this than many that I've talked to. Congressman, a pleasure. You talked about running against, or running for, I should say, Bob Bennett's Senate seat, opted not to do it. Are you thinking about running perhaps for Orrin Hatch's seat?
Maybe. I know. Look, I'm not here to make it. I'm not here. Yes. No. Look, I'm not here to make a campaign announcement. But yeah, look, I serve at the will of the people. If they want me to serve, I'll serve where they want me to serve. So,
do you think do you feel like you understand the distinction between a government that does favors for special groups at the expense of the country, and a government that has fairness and understands the difference between agency businesses like banking and principal businesses like every other thing that we do in this country, from hair cutters to McDonald's? Do people understand that?
Yeah, I think so. Look, if you're not part of the solution, then get out of the way. And if voters perceive you're part of the problem, then, hey, it's time to flush the toilet and start over again. And, you know, you see that happening from coast to coast. Big government's on the march. And if you're supportive of that and voted for that along the way, you're probably going to get yourself into trouble, and rightfully so. I like to say, hey, I'm a freshman. I didn't create this mess, but I am here to help clean it up. And I didn't get here because of big money and big name ID and all that. We had a very grassroots campaign. I mean, the moment I don't get that, they should send me home and kick me out.
I want to read a quote from a gentleman named Jason Chaffetz. You might know him. He's a congressman from Utah.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah. And I quote, "I respect everything that Senator Hatch has done, but the question is whether 36 years in the U.S. Senate might be enough. Orrin will be 78 in 2012. It's not fair for me to make this about you and Orrin Hatch, but I do want to make this about politicians who have effectively created a system, or at least perceived to, and the reality supports it, a system of unfairness, a system that is allowing certain businesses regulatory clearances, monopoly privileges, all sorts of things, because it's in the interest of that business, that special interest, even if modern technology and reality have passed those businesses by. Do you feel like you or other politicians who are freshmen like yourself have the guts to come up against the sort of formidable fundraising machine that keeps the status quo in place?
Yeah, look, when I ran for office, Orrin Hatch, Bob Bennett, President Bush, they all came out against me. And I said, hey, you know what? If you want different results, maybe you're going to have to elect different people. So I don't know the political establishment or the lobbying crowd anything. That's not who elected me. I report to the people of Utah. And so, yeah, and look, if you don't create a case, if you don't stand true and tall for fiscal discipline, limited government, accountability, and a strong national defense, you're going to get booted. You're going to get booted, and that's just the reality. And that you're seeing that from coast to coast right now. I'm glad to see the American people stand up and doing something about it.
The only thing that was missing from your list, and I think that we're going to hear a lot of conversation about taxation and austerity, raising the Social Security qualification age, means testing for Social Security. There's some fairly rational conversations. Sorry to drift off the camera there for a second. Just some rational conversation to be had there. But do you have the guts, do you think our politicians have the guts to really go to the root of this, which austerity and taxation will not fix? The only thing that will fix this will be meaningful structural overhaul of things like our financial system, which has a lot of leverage over our country and does not create value, it extracts money, or our healthcare system, which despite the Obama reform efforts was basically Frankenstein and is now costing more and more by CBO estimates every day. Our deficit was the biggest we've seen, in April. You know that. Do you have the ability, does anybody have the ability to go into the trenches with the banks, the unions, the healthcare companies that support employer-based healthcare and actually get this done? And do you think people are going to lose their jobs if they don't do it?
Well, they should lose their jobs if they don't do it. I'd like to think that I do. I'm not here for a lifetime appointment. Get in, serve, and then get out and go home. That's what's going to create this healthy atmosphere. Right now, no, this body does not have the political will to get it done. We have about 80 to 90 fiscal conservatives in the House of Representatives. That's the reality, and I can create a case for that. The reality is we're not making difficult decisions. Washington, D.C. is not saying no. But what did we turn down? What did we say no to in the last little bit? Everything that's come up, we've funded. Oh, sure, go ahead and spend all that. That's why we're in such trouble. So, yeah, we got to get to the root of entitlement reform. We're going to kill this country. We're killing it right now.
And again, I'm happy to go down the entitlement reform road. I totally agree with you. But if we don't address the extraction that is going on the other side of the ledger, you're not going to get a good outcome, right? We are being extracted, not created. You want to create jobs, you need a financial system that injects money into your country, not a financial system that extracts money from your country, whether it's high-frequency trading, credit card lending as opposed to small business lending. That couldn't be more central to this entire conversation. Wouldn't you agree?
There are fundamental and programmatic and systematic fundamental flaws that we absolutely have to address, and we better do it in a bipartisan way. That's what we got elected to do, and those that aren't willing to come to the table and work on those, send them home.
Yes.
That's
the whole point of America. That's why we're America.
Exactly right.
Because that's why we're not Russia, not China. If you don't like it, flip the people out and get some people that will do what's best for our country. I couldn't agree with you more, Representative. Thank you so much for the conversation today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Jason Chaffetz out of Utah. I do want to turn to our dig list, quick and dirty. Here we go. This is a biggie here. Speaking of finance, word of impending financial reform in Washington for credit card lending that is a big deal, as Joe Biden would say. An amendment sponsored by Senators Whitehouse